Normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
Tommy Robinson charged after arrest at Anti-Semitism march. The 40-year-old, and I love how they do this, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, was arrested in London on Sunday. I don't know why it's relevant, but they do that a lot. And I think they do it because they're attacking him and they're attacking his family. In one of the videos from the protest, the cops demand his address. And he gets pissed. And he's like, with all of these cameras and all these people standing around me, you think I'm going to give you my address? Put my family in danger? Here's the news. Activist Tommy Robinson has been charged after attending Sunday's march against anti-Semitism in London. The 40-year-old former leader of the far-right English Defence League, they say, was arrested at the event for failing to comply with a direction to disperse. Let's just be clear. He was in a cafe. He had ordered breakfast. He was waiting for his food. And the last thing he says before they arrest him, I think it was like the last thing, he's like, then pay me back for my breakfast. And they were like, no. And I'm like, I don't think it's unreasonable to be like, okay, just pay me back for my breakfast. The assumption is he's going to leave if you do. And the cops are like, nah. Like, you lose your money and get out. I mean, what if he was just like, can I take my breakfast to go? I bet they still would have said no. Organizers had warned him he would not be welcome at the march held in central London after he signaled his intention to attend. In an update on Monday, the Metropolitan Police said Stephen Lennon of Bedfordshire has been charged with failing to comply with a Section 35 direction excluding a person from an area. He has been bailed to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on 22nd of January. The Met said he told officers he was at the march in his capacity as a journalist. 60,000 people took part in the event. This is the state of the UK right now. That if you are an activist or a media personality, they will just straight kick you out. They will arrest you for your speech. They will lie. They will make up reasons to shut you down. There are so many stories about what a speaker's corner, the famous place where people would stand and speak. Now they all get arrested. Only acceptable government opinions. And the worst thing is, look at how the police behave. I got to be honest. I watch this and I'm like, I totally understand the founding fathers.
I will never forget the video of the police going in and raiding the house and pulling out the autistic girl. Did you guys see that? The teenage girl that like called like somebody a lesbian or something like that.
She did not even do that. She didn't even do that. She basically said, I think she's like Gran. Her grandmother is a lesbian.
Yeah.
And like this girl, I mean, they said she had scoliosis and they're dragging her out. This teenage girl.
Autistic,
and cops are in there.
yeah.
Like, can you imagine what it must be like to be the cop that was called a lesbian and just like sit there? Like, that's evil. To look at this girl that you're saying she's autistic and you're just sitting there like, yeah, I got you.
Also, she does look like a lesbian.
She's
like, what's
implying
the big deal?
something bad. She's like, oh, she's like Gran. Like, does that have to be negative? Does that have to be
there's
insult?
a million different words she could have used that would have been far more inappropriate. But like,
Gran.
If we can't use lesbian, what do we use?
Offense. That's the point. The police said by saying it was a hate offense.
But again, does that imply she hates her grandmother and then it was a hate offense?
No,
she really
it implies
likes her grandmother.
The government is allowed to say whether you'll be arrested and for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that happened at time. It's funny because we're talking just a moment ago about Ireland wanting to pass this law where if you possess things that may incite, that means they're going to walk up to you and say, give me your phone. And they're going to open Twitter and they're going to see a picture on Twitter and be like, oh, this is on your phone. And they're going to say something like, when I inspected the defendant's phone, I saw images of racist content that I believe were on his device. And then you can argue in court. He pulled up Twitter and he was looking through posts and someone retweeted something. I had no control over it. They're going to be like, so you admit it? You had it on your phone. They are just going to decide. It was the UK where they arrested this woman? Yeah, it was Met Police.
Yeah. This is just like Kafka. It's just like the trial.
Well, they tried to do that.
One Kafka reference tonight.
I will give you more if you want.
That's my favorite part of you being on the show.
The thing about in the trial, so this guy, Kay, he gets home and there's police rummaging around in his room and taking his stuff and searching his stuff. And mostly what ends up happening is he's really, really ashamed. He gets arrested. People are looking at him. Nobody will tell him what he did wrong. He can never get a reasonable answer of what he did wrong. And finally, he just gets the runaround by the courts and everything. And eventually they just kill him in the street and he's grateful.
Well, the Harrison Floyd, the Trump case in Fulton County, when they tried to revoke his bond, they did the same thing. They were reading tweets that Harrison Floyd put up and Fannie Willis would go and actually read the responses and be like, see, look what this incited. And it's like just some rando with like 3 followers that said like, oh,
it's probably her.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, they make
at that
fake accounts.
point, if that's going to be admissible to try and revoke somebody's bond and put them in a prison where 12 people or whatever it is have died there in the last year and a half, 4 people, one guy died of bed bug bites. If you're going to revoke somebody's bond because of what other people are saying on Twitter in response to what you say, so now not only do you have to censor yourself, but you have to think about how others are going to react to what you say. That's crazy.
Well, that's the Solzhenitsyn, right? That's the Gulag Archipelago. Is you get arrested, they don't tell you what you did wrong. They don't tell you why you're there. They get you to say stuff, maybe mentioning past colleagues. Then past colleagues get dragged in, arrested, not told what they did wrong. And it's really just because you're associated. That happened all through, that whole period. And behind the Iron Curtain, it's insane.
I think it happens here too. We just don't
And
talk
now
about it
it's
loudly.
happening here. And well, because we don't, I think part of what's going on is we just don't believe that this can happen in America. It's shocking to believe that this can happen in America. It's shocking to believe that, our rights can just be trampled like this. We don't believe that it's possible. And I think that is a little bit of a naivete. And I think that is an overconfidence in our position. And it's getting in our way of seeing what's being done to our country.
I think we're winning, though. Right? I can't speak for the UK or for Ireland, but I do see, in Holland, Geert Wilders' party wins, and they're saying, big things coming. Javier Milei wins in Argentina, and he has vowed to, he said it is non-negotiable. They're shutting down the central bank. That is crazy. What's funny is whenever I mention that to people, I'm like, oh, did you see that the new Argentinian president put out a statement saying the closure of the central bank is non-negotiable? Everybody says, in a manner of speaking, they fear for his well-being.
Yeah, well, they probably should. James Lindsay was posting about that. He was like, and soon there will be major crises in Argentina that were just unforeseen.
Yeah.
How could this happen?
But anyway, my point is I think we're winning, right? Especially as it pertains to speech. Danny Polishuk made the point last week, I think it was last week, where he's like, as soon as Elon bought Twitter, everybody went, men aren't women. And it's like everybody was finally allowed to say it and everyone just went off like.
That was awesome.
But isn't it absolutely insane to look back and be like, did you know that on one of the major social media platforms, you were not allowed to say men aren't women? You would be banned like Meghan Murphy was. So that being said, we had some pretty dark and creepy days, but we're clawing back. I think we've been winning. That doesn't mean we have the majority. It doesn't mean we're going to win. It means we have been consistently gaining ground. You've got the Daily Wire just put out the trailer for that new movie they're doing, Lady Ballers. It looks hilarious.
I can't wait to see it.
It's out on Friday. And it's a comedy movie about men who decide to identify as women to play on play on a bunch of sporting teams and win a bunch of money. And it's funny. So I just think with things like this, the culture is being clawed back. I'll also do a shout out. We did the Culture War podcast, pre-recorded, went up last Friday with Richie Jackson, a professional skateboarder. And I'm getting messages from tons of pro skateboarders who are like, we agree, right? The woke people who are coming into these sporting events, who are coming into video games, they don't know about the culture. They don't care about the culture. They actually actively despise the culture of various industries. They want to destroy it. And now they're losing. More people are speaking up. More people are saying, dude, I just don't care. I want to just read my comic books. I just want to play video games. I just want to skate. I think it's funny that during Gamergate, the meme was, we just wanted to play video games. And now what I hear from skateboarders, as wokeness is causing problems in skateboarding, it's, dude, we just want to skate. So when more and more people start speaking up, I just see, I think we're winning. You look at Joe Biden's failure, you look how bad he's doing, I think we're winning. So I'm having a good time. It's a long road ahead of us. 2024 is going to be wild AF, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think people are frustrated because it doesn't, this idea of like, oh, we'll let you live how you want to live and everything will be okay, has obviously not turned out to be the other side's thought. They want to be the dominant culture in every sphere they enter. And if you have something you love, like skateboarding or whatever niche culture you're into, to know that ultimately you're going to have to dismantle it to accommodate this major theology of, wokeness and whatever else, it's sort of, you either need to decide to protect it or you're going to lose it. And I think we're seeing this replicated in culture, in geopolitics, everywhere right now. It's sort of a make or break moment, if you will.
It is. Could we be at an inflection point?
Possibly, potentially.
Isn't that what we keep hearing from Joe Biden? That we're in an inflection point?
I can't believe you can predict.
Hopefully it inflects. Hopefully it inflections him right out of it. Yeah.
Doesn't matter for him. He can't run. He
I
can't.
agree.
He can't be the
He can
nominee.
barely walk. I mean, come on.
So this
the
means
stairs are his mortal enemy.
the most likely scenario is at the convention. Well, when is the convention? Is it going to be in
May?
Right?
I think it's in May.
We're talking 5 months,
The
6
Dan-
months.
the
well, the audition.
DNC.
The audition is on Thursday. The audition is on Thursday.
Right.
It's DeSantis.
Yeah.
Newsom. When and I hate saying
and
this
they're doing
because
it
I'm
in
a
Georgia.
Floridian.
Where are they doing it?
I don't know where, but Hannity's hosting it.
Georgia, I
He's
think.
moderating
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, DeSantis is an awful debater. He has no
Yes.
personality. I mean, he's getting smeared with the high heels and whatever he's doing. I mean, look, he did a pretty good job in Florida overall. I mean, we did have lockdowns during COVID. It wasn't what everybody said. My wife was out of work for like 7 or 8 months where she wasn't allowed to work. Kind of let the counties deal with it on their own. But as much as this pains me to say, Gavin Newsom is he's like a charismatic dude that is going to suave his way through this debate, and DeSantis is just going to be stumbling all over himself. I think this is the audition, and Newsom comes out looking like just a polished turd, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
But that means the only thing they can do is decree him the nominee. There will not be a primary. He's not going to be on the ballot. People aren't going to vote for him. The convention's going to happen. They're going to say, all in favor of just having Gavin Newsom be the nominee? Aye. And then everyone's going to be like, I didn't vote for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm
He's
saying
terrible,
is
and he's done terrible things to California.
absolutely. But what I'm saying is this debate with DeSantis is going to be that kind of look, everybody's talking about it. I mean, Vivek said it in the last debate. Just tell us who your candidate's going to be.
It's to formally introduce the idea
Right.
that he is the heir apparent.
It's going to put him on that map.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.